They have meaning when they're made, and I think that's one of the reasons that they are become so famous, that they're so beloved in their time. So, if you think about it, the pyramid isn't just I mean, it is the most incredible work of engineering, and it still is staggering to imagine the precision of the building, with the 2.3 million limestone blocks, and the fact in many places that it's only 2 centimetres out. I mean, it's just mind blowing as an extraordinary construction. But for the people of ancient Egypt, it talked about humanity's connection to the cosmos and the connection between mortality and immortality, because it was supposed to be, as I said, this sort of resurrection machine for the great king. We can't actually call him Pharaoh. They start to be called Pharaoh in the New Kingdom, and this is still the Old Kingdom. But how he would, after his death, how he would travel to the stars, and therefore, as I said, almost kind of keep the world turning, keep the universe turning. And again, you sort of think about that on the face of it, and you think, oh, that sounds quite fanciful in a way. But we now know, in scientific and physiological terms, when we die, what we're made of becomes something else. It becomes part of the matrix. So we never actually disappear. We become something else. And in a way, that's what the pyramid is saying to people. So that's what the pyramid meant to the ancient Egyptians. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon are really fascinating, because I think they're proving that mankind can have control over nature. So whereas the ancient Egyptians were all about this thing called Ma'at, this sort of respect of nature and understanding its power, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, if you look at the writing of the time, a lot of it talks about using iron tools to go and dig up trees and carry earth and replant things. And it's almost saying, actually, humans can make nature in our own image, in the image of these beautiful tumbling gardens. So it's saying something about our relationship with the world. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, really interestingly, is in honour of this extraordinary Asiatic Artemis, this Eastern goddess, who again is all about protecting both hunters and the hunted, the cycle of life, trees, mountains. If you look at how she was represented in Ephesus, the goddess is represented with these kind of, it's called polymastic. So she basically looks like she's got sort of 100 breasts on her front, but they could also be honey sacs, they could be bull sacs. So she's all about our relationship, sort of nurturing our relationship with nature and with the environment. The statue of Zeus at Olympia is the incarnation of male power, basically, in this macho site of Olympia, where men, actually, and some women, but mainly men, went and ran to sort of prove their physicality and their warrior might. And the statue of Zeus is the physical incarnation of that, of kind of human and particularly male potential. The Mausoleum of Halicarnassus is this incredible sort of firework in the sky. It would have erupted on the landscape around, as I said, what is now modern day Bodrum. And that seems to be about proving how interconnected you are, because if you look at the architecture of the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, it's got a bit of Greek, it's got a lot of Carian, the Carians built it, it's got Roman influence, it's got Assyrian influence. So it's this sort of cosmopolitan monument in a sense. The Colossus of Rhodes at the time was the incarnation of diplomacy, because there'd been this terrible siege of Rhodes, and what we're told is that some of the weapons there was, I mean, it's a really, just a horrific destruction of the Rhodian people by, it was basically a sort of, it's almost like a kind of civil war amongst those that came after Alexander the Great. So it was a debate over where Rhodes' allegiance should be, but the world intervened and said, this is crazy, why are you killing each other in this way? And they encouraged there to be diplomacy and parley, and as a result, this is how legend has it. We don't know, but they tell us that the weapons and the siege machines were melted down, and this extraordinary statue of Helios, the god of the sun, was created. But it was definitely symbolised the power of diplomacy. And then finally, the Lighthouse of Alexandria was both a physical beacon of light that guided people in and out of this extraordinary experimental city, Alexandria, because it's very perilous, the coastline around there. So it was both that, but it was also a symbol of learning because, as many people know, when you came to Alexandria, your docking tax was a papyrus scroll or scrolls which contained knowledge. So it was this city. It was supposed to be like the kind of internet before the internet. Alexandria, all knowledge was meant to be there. So so it was this place where knowledge was fetishized, and the lighthouse was this kind of literally beacon of light that memorialized that. So they really meant something. They weren't just massive buildings. They weren't just kind of show off structures. They represented something that really mattered, both to those ancient populations, but also they represented something that we can understand mattering now too.